If you're learning Python or Django for the first time, you've probably heard of this term virtual environment. What is virtual environment and why it is so confusing for beginners? Well, in this video, I'll teach you exactly that. This video is your final full stop for any confusion about virtual environments. Let's get started. Basically, we create a virtual environment because we want to develop our application inside a dedicated space in our system. It's like a special space for our Django application. Whatever we do in the project, we will be doing inside the virtual environment. All right. By the way, what is virtual environment and what do we do inside the virtual environment? Well, while developing a software applications, we will need various packages or libraries. Every package has its own versions or version numbers. So inside the virtual environment, we actually install specific versions of the packages to run our software application. Now, what happens if we don't create a virtual environment? That's a big question now. Okay, with the help of this presentation, we will understand what happens if you don't create a virtual environment. Let's say this is our computer storage. In the computer storage, we create multiple projects that deals with the various business logics. For instance, we have project 1, project 2, project 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on. Okay. In order to run these Django projects, we will have to install various Python packages because as I said in the beginning, Django inherits a lot of functions from Python. That's why we install Python packages to support our Django project. These packages are actually a piece of software that frequently gets version updates. You might have seen a lot of applications or softwares in your computer or phones frequently get version updates with the updated functionalities, right? These packages or libraries are also the same thing. Now, let's consider this scenario that the project 1 needs Django version 4.0 with the Pillow 8.4. Then this project 1 will run smoothly. Well, Pillow is a Python package that is used to manipulate images. We'll talk more about that later. Similarly, project 2 needs Django version 3.1 with the Pillow 7.2, the lower version. Okay, so then only this particular project 2 will run. For the project 1, what we need 4.0 Django plus Pillow 8.4. And for the project 2, what we need 3.1 Django and Pillow 7.2. Okay, so then only these project will run smoothly. Both of these projects will run smoothly. Now imagine if you don't create a virtual environment, you will probably install all the packages inside the computer storage itself. Maybe you will install Django 3.1 on top of Django 4.0. What will happen? Django 4.0 will be replaced with the Django 3.1. This also means that our project 1 will crash. Why? Because it needs Django 4.0. It will not work with Django 3.1. Most of the time the package updates handles some level of compatibility and it will not crash. But when you have so many projects in your system, it will be very difficult to manage your packages and you will definitely mess up with the one or the other project. Okay, so to overcome this problem, we use something called virtual environment. What we actually do is we create a separate space or separate virtual storage for each of these projects, and then we will install the required packages inside that specific virtual storage. I have written env here. This means this is the virtual environment. Okay, these boxes are actually the virtual environment. All right, so inside the computer storage, we create multiple virtual environments. All right, so inside that virtual environment, we put our project. All right, so inside those environment, we will install whatever packages required for project 1, project 2, project 3, like that. Okay, so this means all our projects will always have the proper packages with the proper version. The problem is solved, right? So that's why we use virtual environment. So far we know what exactly is the virtual environment. It's time to practically see how it works. Before we begin, let us first create a folder where we want to build our Django application. So I'm creating a demo project on my desktop. Okay, so simply create a folder on your desktop or wherever you want to create your project. Okay, so I will choose desktop to create my project. I will name it as Django Basic. All right, so let me open this Django Basic folder. So in this Django Basic folder, we are going to create our basic Django website. All right, so I'm supposing that you already have Python 3 installed on your system. Now you have to install the virtual environment. All right, as I said in the previous video, we create a virtual environment to keep our packages in an isolated place or a separate space so that the packages that are installed on our global scope of your computer does not conflict with the packages that you install for your project. Now let me show you what exactly do I mean by the global scope of your computer. All right. So right now this folder is empty, and I hope you have already installed Git Bash on your system. All right. So simply right click on your Django basic folder and open this Git Bash here. Okay. Click on this Git Bash here. This will open up a Git Bash terminal. Here you can run Linux commands. All right. So when I said the global scope of your computer, I want to see what are the packages or what are the Python packages that are already installed on my global scope of my computer. That means I want to see the packages that are installed on my computer. All right. Simply run pip freeze. I'll make it a little bit bigger and hit enter. Okay. As you can see, let me maximize this a little bit. See, as you can see, these are all the packages that are installed on my computer. Okay, so there are a lot of packages I have installed over the years. All right, so I don't need these packages for my test project. All right, so what will I do is I'll create a virtual environment and call it as env. All right, so these packages I don't need for my projects. Okay, so I'll say Python -m venv. Okay, so one more thing I want to tell you is that you don't always need to install virtual environment. Okay, so in the recent versions of Python, you will get the virtual environment pre-installed. Okay, you don't need to install it explicitly. What you have to do is you have to simply create it and activate it. All right, but however, if you want to install the virtual environment explicitly, you can say pip install virtual env. Okay, virtual env. You will probably see requirements already satisfied because I hope you guys are using the latest versions of Python. Okay, so if it is already not installed, then this command will install virtual environment for your system. Okay, so that is done. So now next thing is to create a virtual environment. So I'll say Python -m venv. Venv means virtual environment, and then space your virtual environment name. Maybe you can call it as env or your name or whatever it is. Okay, it is just the virtual environment name. All right, so simply hit enter. So the moment you hit enter, you notice that one env folder is created here. Okay, so let's wait for this a command to execute properly. Okay, so the command is executed, and here you see env folder is created. Okay, so inside this env folder, we have include lib scripts and pyenv.cfg. Anyhow, you are not going to touch these files, but I just want to show you that there is one file called activate.bat. Okay, so this bat file will actually activate your virtual environment. So right now we have just created the virtual environment for our project, but to make it work, we have to activate it. Okay, so you have installed the virtual environment. That doesn't mean that you have already created. So you have just created the virtual environment. Now you have to activate it. So to activate it, what you have to do is source env. Env is your virtual environment name. Okay, so if it is different in your case, just name it whatever the virtual environment name you have created, I mean given. Okay, so source env / scripts. Okay, scripts means this scripts. I'm navigating to this scripts folder through this terminal, and again / I want to navigate to activate, because if you see scripts folder and if you open this, you see this activate, right, activate.bat. So you don't have to give activate.bat, you simply say activate. Now hit enter. Okay, so you can see env on top of my computer name, right? So this means your virtual environment is activated, but some of you guys might not see this scripts. Instead you will see bin folder. Okay, so this happens when you use Mac. All right, so if you're using Mac, you will, instead of this script folder, you will get bin folder. Okay, so in that case, what you have to do to activate the virtual environment on your Mac, you have to simply say bin. Okay, source env bin script, I mean activate. So hit enter and your virtual environment will be activated on Mac. So currently I'm using Windows. That's why I'm running this scripts command. Okay, let me clear this. Okay, when you see env on top of your computer name, that means your virtual environment is activated. Now if you run pip freeze, you will not see anything. Okay, so that means, let me just clear it. Okay, so I will run pip freeze again. I will run pip freeze again, and you see there are no virtual environment installed in this particular virtual environment. Okay, so it is a fresh space. Okay, so if you come out of this virtual environment, that means if you deactivate this virtual environment, you will not see this env. Okay, you will not see any env on top of your computer name. Now if you run pip freeze, all the packages that are installed on your computer will be listed. Okay, pip freeze will just actually list down all the packages that are installed on your system. Okay, so that's why we use a pip freeze. And now again I will go inside my virtual environment by running source env scripts activate. Okay, so currently I don't have anything inside my virtual environment, so it is a fresh virtual environment. Now for my project, what I need is I need a Django, right? See, make sure your virtual environment is activated all the time whenever you are working on your project. Okay, so when the virtual environment is activated, simply run pip install Django. Okay, pip install Django. So it will install the latest version of Django. All right, latest version of Django, and simply hit enter. Okay, Django is installed now. So now if you run pip freeze, okay, if you run pip freeze, you can see Django is listed here. Okay, so Django version 4.1.5 is installed in this virtual environment with the name env. Okay, so now let me make it a little bit bigger. So okay, so don't worry about this ASG IREF and backports and SQL pass TZ data and all, because those are the dependency packages of Django, and those packages will get installed when you install Django. Okay, so currently while recording this video, 4.1.5 Django is the latest version. All right, so right now in my new virtual environment, only these things are installed. Okay, if you come out of this again, and you run pip freeze, so many other things are installed. Okay, so many other things are installed, as you can see here. So in here Django 4.0.3 is installed. Okay, in my global scope Django 4.0.3 is installed, but I don't want that 4.0.3 for my project, so that's why I installed the latest version of Django for my project. And that's it. You now know what virtual environments are and how to set them up. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell icon for more such videos.